Hello, species value nature system. All parts of English grammar, all parts of English are about nature as values nature. As an extent of that, inside values nature. As value slash value nature. Value nature, the phrase is distinct from the phrase values nature. In other words, values nature is inside. Value nature is inside values nature. So each value that is discernible has a value/value nature relationship to values nature. Increasingly, this is where values nature's identity is self-generating as a nature of volume as forever nature. And English was revealed to teach this. It has an identity. It has an identity of relationship to itself. It has the value of that to us as its value to itself. For its system that these modern nations are tactical ulterior from. Note as identities. And see, the species is an identity of value. See, we are identities of the species now, as modern nations, as identities of science is abridged and self-valued that way, not by accident. To maintain self-value, victim predator premise treatments, sequence treatments, active body of value discernment treatments, progressive body of value discernment treatments, and identity treatments. Now, the values of this, all values connect to and as the values natures, the way it's self-generating. So, for example, it only increases in volume. And the top of the A and the bottom of the top of the Z and the bottom of the Z are revealed to teach this. A through Z are values simultaneously, in other words, distinctly, non-distinctly, and simultaneously. For example, each of the letters of the English alphabet are simultaneously valued as have an open, closed, and bonded relationship. Excuse me. To and as this identity's identity of relationship to itself. So I'm not a doctor, but the demonstrably each of the sciences have doctors and have premise treatments that can be discerned with physical delusions, criminally foreign influenced premises treatments, sequence treatments since semi-ancient times. Now these are people that are pretending that others have opinions now because they have opinions that they can't defend. So on a mass scale, people still keep moving with positive. See, there are three natures of positive. There are five in our range, but all five semi-natures of positive are also in this range. Is our range? What's in our range is our identity of relationship to ourself as this nature, which connects to its identity of relationship to itself in the way that's going to cause evolution's fruits and gifts here, as the top of the Z is drawn to show, forcing evolution here more and more. Value as nature here, from nowhere, as its identity of relationship to itself, self-generating. Or is it forcing it from here, Leith of Hades, the bottom of the Z, away from Earth's value? See, Earth's distinct and non-distinct and simultaneous value slash value nature relationship to the rest of space nature, all its parts, is first, and while being that, and from beyond it a little distinctly more too, our identity of relationship to this identity of value progression's identity of relationship to itself. So the bottom of the Z, for example, but the bottom of letter slash value A, for example, letter A, the bottom of it is open, but it is also in relationship to the ground's value. See, the ground has a tie to positive. This is positive's actual course. Note how criminal insidiousness natures, people criminally foreign influenced, associated with racketeering, for example. This is a worse than racketeering method, worse than war crimes, simple racketeering method. But we don't have free speech originally and still. We have identities of the law of and as each modern nation reliant upon contrast with other nations. Because their identities are all tactical interior from identity's actual course. So this is simultaneous. The bottom of the A, for example, it is value as an open relationship to the ground. But the ground is keeping it, to itself. Its identity, value A. The bottom of it is valued distinctly and non-distinctly as an open and simultaneously as a closed relationship, because the ground makes that closed. The bottom of the A. And the dash is separating those two. The top of the A is closed too. See how there is a space section on the top of above the dash separating the two longer slashes. Solidus, the slash solidus, that makes up the A. Now we have the two. We have the dash in between it, and we have the two invisible but still discernible this way through science. Space nature portions that are distinct but bonded. The Trinity is about this. This Trinity, we have a cell body, a cell nucleus, a cell wall. The cell body, and the cell nucleus, they share an identity, and that is the value of the cell walls that share each other, and they share the value of the rest of the complete nature coming through this, with its relationship to itself, positive or negative. Now this is the difference. So the letters have an open, closed, and bonded relationship to themselves. Even C, where nothing is closed and nothing is bonded, but there's still a bond, which is the high and the low part of the letter. For example, the lowercase letters are drawn to show what temporary positive looks like. Now, we're not sure if temporary is positive is temporary or lasting positive. In other words, it still could be negative value nature. Criminal insidiousness nature has to make positive out of negative. The same way non-criminal insidious, not criminal nature, our nature with no criminal foreign influences, has to make positive out of negative, but distinctly now from us. So it's going to make different positive treatments. See, the branches of government will tell you, oh, well, we have the right to lie. We have the right to do crimes and things like that. But they say that from positions where you can't counter. You can't. They are recorded delusions wrought, sequence racketeering predators. Every modern nation's opinions regarding the law, regarding the surface values of the Constitution, recorded self-valued, abridged originally and still. Recording self-valued, how the reasons that it was abridged and self-valued blamed on other things other than themselves, not by accident. This is a breaching method using human fact treatment nature. So we had the sickest things in the world positions entrenched here. And that extended. And while they were doing that, that was to invest the human fact treatment nature to self-defenses of this with pseudo-positive as criminal insidiousness natures. They were consciously building since semi-ancient times modern nations as victims, needing to react to the real causes of negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures, acts like predicate acts, associated with the discernment of criminal insidiousness nature, of wrongdoing, of wrongdoers, associated with organized crime discernment, organized crime bodies like criminal enterprises. Now, this is worse than a racketeering method, worse than organized crime, worse than war crimes. Simple racketeering method, however. So, we'll examine this. Former director of the FBI, for example, former standing chairperson on the RICO statute, Racketeering Influenced and Corrupt Organization Act. Also involved with people involved with the transition from ACA to RICO, Organized Crime Control Act to RICO. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not police from that criminal. These are people also involved with all identities, a job, private and stuff like that, tied to the branches of government. And they already, all these private and interbranch databases, intercampuses databases, they are involved with this method that maintains everyone invested this way more and more by using bonded crime methods where they stack databases with lies that they're also making self-valued on and off campuses, and they're doing it through people that have no connections and the interactions that they're influencing. But those actions and those families and all those involved with it were already criminally foreign influenced. They are already to the defenses of identities their own. Even they can't defend it also at the same time from what exploits that. And there's maintenance to that. That's what they used the Trade Center attack effectively for, to keep Saudi Arabia and America, for example, to keep all these nations, to keep Iran, to keep all these nations, China. That's why they have problems with the states and areas. Because we have criminally foreign influence states and areas, but it's not sourced by one, and everyone's a victim. And everyone is not by accident only capable of blaming other things other than themselves for the real causes of negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures. And that already has been, and that was already self-valued per time treatments, etc. Per treatments of positive, because people need to move on when they're not allowed voice, and you have to respect your teachers and things like that. This is criminal and they're very subtle. So they don't follow rules with the campuses. We have interbranch leader women involved with racketeering with the men, where they're attaching little boys and girls and men and women to fake locations, fake words through time with databases, their own and other. Now, fake news, to use the term of the president, is worse than just real. WFSB has recorded identity racketeering acts with other Connecticut media, also with interbranch family members. Human trafficking. Attach me to fake words, fake locations, and they won't fix that. And the courts have judges that for our roles with prosecutors and state's attorneys forging names, switching names. Uses of their Facebook pages for sexual, medical, and judicial crimes and other natures of racketeering with a principal sex offender I caught them with more then and now. They forced it, but he got caught anyway off campus with taking up skirt pictures, reportedly in a Walmart. These same shared policings of stores, foreign and domestic, intercities, are also already involved criminally with us. They already need to hide lie progressions. The principal sex offender's doctor was already recorded involved with him and with Facebook interbranch pages with child sex offenders, with sex crimes, right on Facebook. New Britain Superior Court's Facebook page, a whole bunch of people from my town are tied to New Britain Superior Court, the Hartford courts, that were involved with racketeering acts with them leading up to the Trade Center. Then they had to hide that. They had to hide all that was tied to the investigators and the investigations. Now, these are also people with a guy who looks just like Comey that are involved with racketeering with former director of the FBI and other agencies with election spots and with elections, with uses of Barack Obama, as uses of us all, For example, every president was used by this criminally. And they were all forced to blame their reactions to it on other things other than self, because their reactions are forced to entertain knaves' opinions, states and areas criminally foreign influenced. All database relationships criminally foreign influenced. Positive treatments as criminal insidious nature. So we'll examine this. We'll examine the Trinity letters, which they all are the Trinity letters. These three natures of volume are filling at a finite level, at an active level, and at a progressive level. No, not level. At a finite nature of volume value, smaller than small, simultaneously while it is bigger than big, and while it is active. And those three already temporary / lasting positive, is making more temporary / lasting positive or negative. We are quality of diffusion. But see, this is another course of positive and negative. This with the Trinity. Again, criminal insidious nature has needs to justify natures of positive forsaken. So now the phrase the perfect world, for example, is recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with the state police also involved with the CIA and with the FBI and with other nations' families, overt criminal enterprises, and shared policing, and shared all that involved with that on and off campuses. So we have a whole bunch of nations associated with CCSU, involved with the interbranch from my town, involved with racketeering, with locations off the South Steen Highway, in Wethersfield, Rocky Hill, where they have shared policing of stores, little shopping centers, malls like West Farms Mall, etc. These are people involved with racketeering. If you try to report things over Facebook or internet, they're going to pretend that's not real because they're out of their minds. They're sick, fakes. Now, if you try to ask for something in writing, the courts are criminally preventing writing. They make confessions, and then they pretend they don't realize. Now, these are people. The New Britain Superior Court has been stacking falsified police reports and human trafficking, switching arresting officers' names. In other words, fake arresting officer, pretending people were in conversations with officers they never were. They've been using in and out of New Britain Superior Court with the same two Mendes police brothers, two Kurd police brothers. I don't know if the Mendes have more brothers. They have their whole families involved with this. These are people with WFSB, Fox Connecticut News, and WTNH involved with racketeering, with how they play softball together. That was also used to cultivate them needing to hide live aggressions. And then they had to do it with their stories now. They can't follow the truth in stories now. These are criminal insidious natures that need to pretend they're positive more and more. So they need to be right on top of the elderly homes doing little fake things for them. Those are not means in those elderly homes. You think they're VA? Those aren't. That's a people stack designed to make to have the victim predators only allowed to work for them. The time the food comes out at this time, we only have so many people. We have all these floors of people, not by accident. So we need to have a place, a button on these internet sites like Facebook, involved with Wethersfield Police Department's Facebook page and the Facebook page of New Britain Superior Court. Recorded, confessed, and demonstrated also in collusion with the Facebook pages of the campuses they have involved with sexual, medical, judicial, mail crimes, wire crimes, drug crimes, untimely deaths brought up the principal sex offender they are further involved with their kids. Wethersfield Police Chief's daughter recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with himself by his other officers tied to him. There's an officer, Jerry Miller, further recorded, confessed, and demonstrated for the past 3 years, and since before they caught the principal sex offender, he's involved with the Kerr family, also with a whole bunch of people with New Britain Superior Court, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. Involved. I never had a class with that kid in my life, and there were a whole bunch of people with CCSU involved with it, with sexual circles involved with him, and as people involved with the World Trade Center racketeering before that in the Trade Center attack context, directly and indirectly, criminally, and since it. And this is tied to a proven post-dated documents have been presented from inside the court. Someone had post-dated documents that have already been hand-delivered on time, time-stamped on time. That was proven after the Trade Center attack. But right before the Trade Center attack, from inside the court, someone had post-dated the documents and presented them to the panel of judges that way from inside the court. So now they ruled that was late. That proven led to a 2006, now we're in Connecticut case. Same one's interstate, though, associated with the Ninth Circuit is right next to the Trade Center, right before the attack. The Trade Center towers are gone. That way. Now, nothing goes away. This forever nature will not leak. It increases values. So what we need to do is be able to have a place. We have vetting of positive and negative. We have vetting of what is true and not. Where those vetting bodies are involved with racketeering influence uses of them, where they're lying about everyone. We have experts that have no right to call themselves experts. So what they do, they pretend things like, oh, because I did the schoolwork. We have some sick people that are coming out of psychology. Now these are a whole bunch. This is a minority that is fit to a whole majority, because everyone's designed to work with other types of experts. We have whole polling colleges, Quinnipiac University, associated with a Harris family, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with people with the English department, with the educational department, other departments at CCSU, other campuses in Connecticut, interstates, involved with them with racketeering, with medical racketeering, with human drug crimes. Now, I barely know this person, and he's involved with them with sequence shifts too, and with a whole bunch of other names of people I barely know and not at all that are pretending they're tied to them, because they attacked because of what they did in the past, touching me and everyone to fake locations, fake ties to each other, fake natures of ties to each other. Now there's a Joshua Julian, also recorded, confessed. I had nothing to do with him in my entire life. He's recorded involved with the principal sex offender's Facebook page, further involved with them when he was still involved with that with other ones. There are prosecutors and kids involved with this further criminally.